Earlier in the year, we learned about the new A45s, the supercar eater, a car which reinvented itself as the hyper hatch, but then COVID-19.
The world decided not to buy necessities or food.
Instead, we must hoard toilet paper in great volume. Well, some thought that. Probably just natural selection. Others decided to be more practical, to think about the future and all of their decisions. So can anyone justify the A45 in the current climate with its compact proportions in an SUV-dominated market?
So, did Mercedes produce a phoenix to rise from the flames?
We got masked up and found out.
God, remind me never to put Sonny in charge of subtitles again. Hello and welcome to the AMG Lounge. I'm G and this is probably the most unorthodox sports car currently in the market, certainly at Mercedes-Benz. Now, I say unorthodox because this is a practical, compact SUV known as the GLA, or as Mercedes-Benz like to call the Urban Adventurer. However, it is loaded with a 2-litre 4-cylinder turbocharged engine, developing a whopping 420 brake horsepower, taken from the A45s. But hey, as I mentioned before, SUVs seem to be the in thing these days. So you have this tall, boxy, chunky car with a high driving position, but an incredibly potent engine, a very clever 4MATIC system, which helps propel this thing from 0 to 60 in a little over 4 seconds. So it's not exactly the regular formula to a sports car, is it? But then again, it's 2020 and the word normal is being redefined. Anyway, let's get into the video. As you can see guys, this is finished off in the brand new Designo Patagonia Red, the kind of spec that has the seal of approval from the likes of Jamie B and David T. And if you don't know who they are, I'll put their Instagram handles here. Head over to Instagram and go and check them out. Coupled with that is the Premium Plus package, which in the language of Mercedes-Benz means that all the optional extras, including now the aero kit, come standard. You have a glass panoramic sunroof, you've got memory seats, folding mirrors, parking sensors front and back, reversing camera, dual zone climate control, keyless entry, powered boot closing and an opening. You've got multi-beam LEDs at the front, and for the first time the Burmester surround sound system has made it into the segment. The A, the B, the CLA and the GLA are on their second reincarnation if we don't count the facelift. So we all pretty much know what they're about now. And if you don't, you could be forgiven for thinking that they're all very similar because they're on the, they're built on the same chassis, they've got the same engines, they've got the same transmission, etc. But getting technical in these videos is really not my strong suit, so I'll explain it in a different way. Technically, yes, the cars are very similar, but I want to talk to you a little bit more about the characteristics of these cars. Let me explain. The A-Class is the youngest of the siblings, maybe suffers from ADHD, just always wants to go fast, much like a rampant rabbit. Then you have the CLA, which is more like the middle child, likes reading, a little bit more subdued, a little more mature perhaps, elegant. Then you have the GLA, the eldest of the litter, more of a parental figure, and will only deploy the full potential only if it's absolutely necessary. Now, if that hasn't made much sense, then perhaps this will. Now, even though they're cut from the same cloth, the GLA in the Plus carries 21-inch alloy wheels, and because of its shape and body styling, it's 130 kilograms heavier. The result of that is that the 0 to 60 time is about half a second slower than the A45s sibling.
Because the GLA is supposed to be the parental figure, as I mentioned earlier, you don't actually get drift mode in the GLA. You do still get the launch control, however.
While I'm just sitting in traffic, I'd like to give a massive shout out to Virtue Mercedes-Benz for getting me this car. This car is a demonstrator at Aylesbury, so if you're interested in it, hit up Aylesbury. I'll leave the information down below in the description box. Because it's tall, it doesn't quite have the same centre of gravity as the A45 as well, or the GLA45. I haven't driven that, but I can only imagine. Now, when you look at the other side of the scale, is that because this has got bigger wheels and it's higher up, it actually drives a little better. And I mean marginally, it just rides a little bit smoother. It's still firm because at the end of the day, it is a sports car, it's 420 brake, it's got four-wheel drive. It's still firm, but by no stretch is it uncomfortable. Something that perhaps feels a little bit unnatural, and it's more psychological than anything else, is that you're sitting really high up, the car's tall as it is, the visibility is great, so you almost expect around verges and corners to lean, but actually the body roll is minimal, and that's really surprising. But you chuck it around the corners, yes, there is a little bit more body roll than the A45, but that's to be expected. But having said all that, stick it into race mode, put your foot down, it's still just as bonkers.
This car is quicker and more powerful than anything in its class. It loves revving all the way and rewards you with a sweet engine note. Hang on, there's me enjoying it. And thanks to 500 Newton meters of torque, there's plenty of pull through the gears too.
Oh, better slow down, almost went above 70.
In terms of competitors, it's scarce. One of your options is the Porsche Macan, and to get anything near the sort of power you get in this, you would need to go for a range-topping GTS. Even then, you're about 50 brake horsepower short with a 3-litre 6-cylinder engine. Or the Audi RS-Q3, weighs in a little closer with 395 brake horsepower in a 2.5-litre 5-cylinder engine. So the GLA packs the biggest punch in the smallest package.
So why do we have such a car? That is the £60,000 question. And you might think it's a really long and complicated answer, but the truth is very straightforward. Because the A, the CLA and the GLA45 all share each other's components, the research and development required to produce these cars is minimal. So rather than going through all that trouble of developing this glorious 4-cylinder engine and only making it available in the A45, which isn't going to suit everyone's needs. So what I'm trying to say is, rather than spending all that money in developing one A45, you can spend all that money developing the chassis, the gearbox, the engine, and make it available to a wider audience and recoup more of that development, more of that investment back. Makes business sense. Now granted, there is another elephant in the room regarding the price tag, as it always is, and as it always probably will be. It costs near as makes no difference, £60,000. Now, here are a list of cars you can buy for that sort of money. Audi R8, BMW M4, BMW M2 Competition, C63 Saloon, C63S Coupe. These are all incredibly capable high-performance cars. But if you think the ownership of a vehicle comes down to only its price tag, then you'd be wrong. Take a C63 Saloon for example. You can buy a C63S Saloon for the same sort of money, albeit used, but it'll be just as practical, it'll have just as big a boot. So why would you pick the GLA over that? What about the running costs? The C63S has an engine capacity that's twice the size of this one. It has twice the number of cylinders and is only rear-wheel drive. So the insurance, the maintenance, fuel cost will be significantly greater than what it would cost in one of these. Imagine this, you're a young professional that is fortunate enough to be able to afford one of these, but you've got a young family as well, but you're really into your high performance cars. So if your other half lets you, you can spend part of your money in getting something high performance, but at the same time you've got to be sensible. It's got to be practical. You've got to be able to put a buggy in the boot and a child seat in the back. This ticks all the right boxes, so you're practical and it's quick enough to be able to run you to your local curry house and make it back home in time to catch Boris Johnson's new speech on about what we can do, where we can do it, who we can do it with, all that kind of complicated advice that we're being given. Space-wise, it's bigger than its predecessor in terms of legroom for the rear passengers and the boot as well.
Overall, the new GLA is 5 centimeters wider, 11 centimeters taller, and just a couple of centimeters longer than the previous model. The boot in its natural position houses an extra 70 litres, and with the seats folded down, a whopping 205 litres of extra space than the previous car.
But for me, the standout feature in terms of practicality is how tall the doors are, so getting in and out of them is really, really simple. The interior, just like the A-Class, is a very, very nice place to be. You've got the touchscreen cockpit just here, and you've got the driver's zone in front of you, which you can heavily customise. You've got all your sat-nav controls. You can even control the lumbar support through the screen over here. 64 colour ambient lighting, dual zone climate control. It's a really, really nice place to be. The steering wheel is the same steering wheel that you get in the E63S, the C63S. You've got this half suede, half leather finish, really, really nice materials. But more importantly, you've got the dial here just by your thumb tip. Thumb tip. Thumb tip. Thumb tip. Is that a thing? Thumb tip? It doesn't really sound. Fingertips, thumb tips. I digress. You've got these really nice controls like your thumb tips to control the different driving modes, and on the left you can switch your ESP on and off, your auto start stop on and off, and you can customize them to whatever fits your driving style the best. And you've also got the touchscreen BlackBerry pads, which help you control the screen in the middle here, but it's touchscreen. You can control it from here if you're driving, if you don't want to take your hands off the steering wheel. And as well, you've got a touchpad down here as well, which you can flick through all the different menus. Design wise, no doubt it'll divide opinion, but I quite like the beach buggy beefy look to it. The front and the rear have a really short overhang like you would associate with most SUVs, and the massive wheels do give it a mean look. I would have preferred if the back was a little bit more coupe-like, if it wasn't so upright, just like the old GLA, but I guess function over form war was fought here and function won. It almost looks like a caricature painting of the A-Class. Really exaggerated features, great big wheels, and look at the grille. A proper AMG grille. How does it drive? Is it as engaging as the A-Class? Probably not. Is it as dynamic as the CLA? I don't know. I haven't driven one yet. Mercedes. I mean, don't get me wrong, it might look like a caricature or a cartoon character and really beefy and all that kind of stuff, but it will outrun a lot of performance cars in the real world. That's crazy, right? I mean, there aren't a lot of cars that you're gonna end up pulling alongside traffic lights in the real world that you're not gonna be able to beat. That's crazy, but true. The 4MATIC system has been upgraded too, and it's really clever. So not only do you have four-wheel drive or front or rear wheel drive, but it can actually send power to individual wheels as well. So wherever most grip exists, it can send the power there. Under heavy acceleration, the A45 almost felt a bit jittery because it had a lot of power running. Even though it was running to all four wheels, you still get a little bit of a slip in the wheels, if you like. Whereas in this, you don't. It just feels a bit more planted. You feel the weight in this car a little bit more than you do in the A45. Can it go off-road like an SUV? Well, it might do, but to be honest with you, I don't think this car is built for off-road as such. Yes, it's got four-wheel drive, so it'll probably do okay, but I think the four-wheel drive is there for three reasons. One, to make it all-weather capable, added safety measure, and C, well, to help put all that power down. And my God, does it. Yes. Yes, it does. And in fact, if you just go for the premium pack, you'll lose the wing at the back, which again divides opinion, and all like the aerodynamic stuff. And suddenly this thing becomes a sleeper, stealth mode to anyone else, and actually, whoop their ass. You see, I don't think that this car will appeal to the purist. And if I'm honest, I don't think any of the 45S range will do that. I don't think that's what they're designed to do. I think a purist will probably prefer something that's rear-wheel drive, maybe manual, lighter, naturally aspirated, wouldn't care for pan roof, upgraded sound system, electric seats, all that kind of stuff. You'd go for something a little bit more basic, which is why I'm saying I don't think any of the 45 range is a purist's car. It's too refined. It, you know, has all the comforts that you want in your daily drive. This has been built more so for people who prefer an espresso in the morning rather than going through a large glass of latte or a flat white. You know, just that instant kick to get them started on their day. That it just powers there. It's just like boom, bang, let's go, start the day. Small but powerful, give you that instant adrenaline, and then that's it. They're off. You will join a small club of exclusivity with this Mercedes. They probably won't be available in huge numbers, and there isn't much in the way of competition. In a world where normal is currently under construction and being redefined, this car actually makes sense. Which one would I have? See, the A45S and the GLA45s are two ends of the extreme. So, and I do really have a soft spot for the CLA just because of the way it looks, and it's quite practical. Got a big boot, 4-door, got the looks as a coupe, and probably has the most aggressive styling. I would probably go for the CLA45S personally, but I think the best one is the A45S. So take from that what you will. I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you very much for watching. Please don't forget to like, subscribe and share, and hit the bell icon. You'll really be helping the channel. And head over to Instagram at the AMG Lounge. Give us a follow, and we'll see you in the next one. Bend over. Bend over. Bye.